To our September 2022 general meeting. My name is Brian Graham, and I am the county chair of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee. And once again, thanks for hanging in with us while we worked out some technical difficulties, but we've now have more folks in the room, and we're excited to see you all. I will note, just as a point of privilege here, that this will be the last fully virtual meeting, at least for a while, I believe. We will resume at least hybrid meetings starting in November. So we look forward to seeing you all then. Let me share my screen so that I can share the virtual meeting instructions, which I think everyone's already familiar with, but we might have some new folks with us. So please raise your hand if you would indicate that you would like to be recognized to speak. Try not to use the chat window for business. I may see it, but we may miss items in chat because there can be a lot of content there. So try to just do things by raising your hand if possible. We may have a counted vote. For example, for the addition of new members, we'll have a Zoom poll. You may have to exit out of full screen mode or swipe on your screen if you're on a phone or a tablet to see the voting window. And it might go away when you submit your votes. And then at the end, of course, we can share our results. So that's it for the electronic meeting instructions. And now we can head into the approval of the agenda and minutes. And at this moment, I ask if there are any changes to the agenda or to the minutes. Not seeing anyone trying to obtain the floor. The minutes are adopted. The agenda and minutes are adopted by unanimous consent, and we can move on to the approval of new members. On the screen, I have the list of new voting members. Actually, we have the list of new voting members. If you have to move around the camera to see everything, or I apologize. I don't exactly know where everyone's pictures end up. But we have a number of new members listed here, and associate members as well. I can also confirm that since we've had the question at a few meetings, all of these members have been vetted according to their district content, that the district chairs who provided them. So with that, I would like to have a vote to affirm the election of these members to their respective district committees. And it's good practice for if we need a poll. So I'm going to go ahead, stop sharing, and let's launch the poll. Looks like Marianne has a question. Oh no! Oh, you were trying to raise your hand. Yes. And do I need to launch the poll? What's going on here? Or do we not have a poll? Oh, no, not for minutes. This is for members. I don't see it here either, though. Let me just say this then. Let's not practice a poll. Let's just do this with the unanimous consent then. Are there any objections to adopting the members? I'll share my screen again just so you can see it. The new members. Okay, seeing no objection, we can move on to introduction of special guests. And as you might have heard, Mark Keem resigned from the House of Delegates to take a job in the Biden administration. So there is a special election ordered in January 2023 for the House of Delegates District 35. That's the old district, right? We're not using new districts yet. That's the existing district where Mark Keem was elected. And so far, as of yesterday, there are 2 candidates who have filed seeking the Democratic nomination for this. And at this time, I would like to recognize the first of those candidates, Carl Frisch, who of course is a member of the school board from the Providence district, but is also a candidate for this nomination. So let's recognize Carl.
Thanks, Brian. I'll keep this brief. I know I was given 3 minutes. I'm running for delegate because I think we need more progressive fighters in Richmond. especially during these uncertain times, someone who will stand up to Governor Youngkin every day and the far right and work to make sure we keep going forward instead of backwards. Over the last 2 years, our school boards, not only in Fairfax, but across the country, have been under attack from a targeted, well-organized, well-funded right-wing effort to tear at the foundation of public education. And despite the hate mail, the death threats, the bigoted attacks, I have never wavered in my support for our students, our educators, and their families. I have championed efforts to eliminate literacy gaps and teach accurate history, protect libraries from censorship, expand access to advanced academics, encourage energy conservation, and more. And I will bring the same fighting spirit to bear for Virginia families working every day to protect our world-class schools, defend abortion access and reproductive freedom, build an economy that works for everybody, especially the workers on whose backs it is built, prevent gun violence, take bold climate action, and defend our democracy. I am proud to be endorsed by Congressman Don Beyer and former Speaker Eileen Fillercorn, Chairman Jeff McKay, and former Chairman Sharon Bulova, my supervisor Dalia Palchek, and Hunter Mill Supervisor Walter Alcorn, along with 36 other local, state, and federal elected officials who support me because they know that I will deliver when I get to Richmond. This has been a very short campaign, but I've enjoyed meeting voters at the doors, as well as many of our FCDC members at the doors. I just got back from door knocking myself. So I would like to invite you to join our campaign. Please sign up to volunteer. We need more door knockers and more phone bankers. I've been knocking so much, I think my legs are going to have to be amputated when this is all over. And if you live in the 35th district, early voting begins next week, Tuesday the 4th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at FCDC, Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. at FCDC, and then election day is Saturday, October 8th, a week from Saturday, from 10 to 4 at 3 locations: Oakton Elementary School, Kilmer Center, and Patrick Henry Library in Vienna. So I would be honored to have your support and humbled to have your vote. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Carl. Our next candidate who has also filed is Holly Siebold. Holly, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Brian. Hi, everybody. My name is Holly Siebold, and I'm running for the House of Delegates as well in District 35. And, you know, I wanted to first congratulate Delegate Keem on his appointment to the Biden-Harris administration. I've been a long time constituent of his, and I know our community is proud of his service, and excited to see what's next for him. Delegate Keem encouraged me to run in this race because through our work together, he knows I'm someone who walks the walk on getting progressive legislation across the finish line. Whether it's getting menstrual supplies in schools, helping incarcerated women live with dignity, or eliminating the tax on tampons, I've been able to work with our legislators to get the work done for the people. Other legislators and community leaders know that I have a record of being legislative.
Did we lose Holly, or is that just me?
We can't hear either.
Lost audio. Lost
Can
audio.
you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Hi,
But
can you hear
probably
me?
like, yeah,
Sorry.
probably didn't hear the
I'm
last
driving.
30, 40 seconds.
Okay, sorry, I'm driving right now. So other legislators in our, I just wanted to let you know that other legislators and community leaders that I have a record of getting that know that I have a record of getting good legislation into law, and that's why I've been endorsed by Barbara Favola, Jennifer Boysko, and Scott Soroville, amongst many others, Kathleen Murphy. I've also been endorsed by our local town council members, such as Lori DeRocco, and several other former members, such as Carrie Sinecki and Douglas Noble. So, you know, I'm running to fight to protect our right to an abortion, our right to have control over our own bodies without the government interfering. I'm a mother of 2 FCPS kids.
We lost you again.
Sorry, guys, I'm driving. So thank you all for your time. And you have the dates. Carl gave you the dates, and check out my website for more information. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Holly. Sorry, you didn't have better connection, but I am happy that we have quality candidates running for this. You know, where the Republicans are, I think, still looking for a candidate. So it's very exciting. Next up is the treasurer's report, and that will come from our treasurer, Nadia Golding.
Myself, sorry, I had to unmute myself. I didn't know I was up so quickly. All right, so we are the first page of our treasurer's report just basically gives us a summary of where we are relative to the budget. As you can see that we have been raising money. We've raised $118,000 so far, but we still have far to go before the end of the fiscal year. And we're beginning to spend the money on this election. So you can see that we've spent close to $140,000. And at the moment, we have about $104,000 in the bank. There's a blank on the ending balance in the budget. I fixed that on my own copy, so the next time you'll see what it was, but the amount that we were supposed to have at the end of the year was about $169,000. And so, you know, that's our target for ending the year, but we definitely want to be raising and spending money this year. Okay, so the next page, for people who are members of district committees and want to know where their district committees stand, this will show where the district committee balances are at the moment. This does not include anything that they raised by credit card this month. It does have subtracted from all the district committees the assessments to FCDC that I took away in August. So that's not coming out anymore. Any district committee chair or treasurer who needs a copy of their ledgers, they should just email me and I can send it to them. There are also committee chairs who may also want to know where they stand on their budget, and they may not be able to see it so well when it just comes up on the screen here. So if anybody wants to know where you stand relative to your budget, please email me and I can let you know. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Nadia. Now we are to my report, and I guess I'll go off of this again. Maybe you can actually see me. My report will be pretty brief. Obviously, we're heading into to our November election. Early voting has already started, and I hope you will take the opportunity to go vote early if you can, or vote by mail. Because the Democrats fought hard for us to have those opportunities, and the more that we use them, the more justification we have to continue to have them. So get out there, knock on doors, help elect our Democratic contingency, our Democratic electeds, Don Beyer, Jerry Connolly, and Jennifer Wexton. I feel very good about them. And when you have time, also, you can visit our friends in the 2nd or 7th to help keep those wonderful Democratic women, Elaine Luria and Abigail Spanberger, in Congress as well. You know, if you had asked me how I felt like this election was going to go 6 months ago, obviously my answer would have been a lot different than today. But there's a lot of good things that have been going on. There's a lot of good reason to feel good about this election, but we can't take anything for granted. And as always, we have to continue to put in the work to keep Democrats in office. I think I'm going to mention just, and I'm like looking to see if I can share my screen, but obviously, as FCDC, when the special election for HD 35 was ordered in January, that also meant that FCDC had to have a nominee by November. And as chair, I appointed a nomination committee to handle the nominating committee to handle the process and the decisions on this process. The chair of that committee was Michelle Woody. Well, still is Michelle Woody. But most of the decisions of that committee are done at this point. So I think it's already been mentioned, but it's maybe worth repeating again, because we don't have caucuses or I'm going to say firehouse primaries that often, right? In the people of this district of the 35th, the old 35th House district, are not used to voting in a party run nominating process, right? So if people ask questions, I want you to be able to know what's going on, right? So we decided we have some options available to us. The primary is not available to us because obviously that's generally our preferred choice. So instead we had to we have some options for our own process, and we selected the thing that's closest to an actual vote, and that is an unassembled caucus, which is also called a firehouse primary. That means people can show up. The one kind of weird different thing that's usual is that there's a pledge, a democratic pledge that people have to sign to be able to participate in that, which we can require, or which we need to have because the Democratic Party plan says we need to have that. But it's a piece of paper that says I'm a Democrat, I believe in democratic values, and I will support the Democrat in this election. So people have to sign that, but then if they live in the district, then we will give them a ballot and they can vote and then leave. So it's very much like a regular vote, except the only opportunities to vote are at the 2 early voting days that are mentioned. That's next Tuesday from 10 to 2 and next Thursday from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And both of those were chosen just like kind of today's meeting, just to try to avoid people who might not be able to vote because of the Jewish holidays. And then the actual caucus day is Saturday, October 8th, and voting is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And as already mentioned, the locations for that are Oakton Elementary School, Kilmer Center, which is actually the entrance is basically at the back of Kilmer Middle School, and the Patrick Henry Library in Vienna. So if you need more information about this, you can go to the FCDC website. There's links on there. I think it's the first thing you see on there. But you can also go to our Fairfax Votes website, fairfaxvotes.org/HD35. And you can find out all kinds of information about where the locations are, or where the boundary of that old district is. Because if you're like me and you got like everyone in the county, you got a new piece of paper that says these are your districts. No one shows up in HD35 anymore, right? So people might not know if they're in that district. You can also look up on Fairfax Votes to see whether you are in that district if you're close. And then lastly, related to HD35, Jack has mentioned in there, we do need, particularly on Saturday, October 8th, we do need volunteers for that day. So if you can spend some time on October 8th helping us have a great, successful nomination process, we would love to have your support and help. We will train you and help you know what to do. We just need some people that are willing to help us. So there is a link in the chat, a Google form to fill out if you are available on that day, and we would really, really appreciate that. Just a couple other things. The LGBTQA plus caucus chair, Amber Beekler, unfortunately had to move out of Fairfax County, and therefore she is no longer the chair of the caucus. If anyone is interested in trying to help kind of take the mantle there, feel free to reach out to me. You can find my contact information on the FCDC website, or you can just send me an email at chair@fairfaxdemocrats.org. Would say Brian, but some people might not do Brian with a Y, but chair@fairfaxdemocrats.org is a good way to get me. And I'd love to talk to you, and kind of related to as well, but this is a long time out, right? But currently I'm elected until my term ends at the end of next year, right? So, I have the remainder of this year, and I also have next year when we have an important election. I do not intend to run for FCDC chair again after that, after next year. So, I'm giving everyone lots of heads up on that one. If you do have interest in that, or if you have interest in FCDC leadership at all, please reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation about it with you. You know, you can explain what's great about it and what's not so great about it. But I just want to let everyone know that now, as we start to look for kind of the next, let's say generation, but the next leaders for our committee. And then lastly, I would like to propose that we move our November meeting. So the November FCDC meetings are every other month, and they're the fourth Tuesday of each month. I don't know if this is much better. I think generally the sense from people I've talked to so far is that it is better. But my suggestion is the fourth Tuesday is 2 days before Thanksgiving. And we are trying to have a hybrid or in-person meeting. So I think it might be prudent to move the November meeting to the fifth Tuesday of November, November 29th, 2022. So Maggie, go ahead.
Yeah, do you need a motion to make that happen?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, Brian, I'd like to move that we move the November meeting of FCDC this year from the 22nd of November to the 29th of November.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Second.
It's seconded. That's great. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? Okay, then without objection, we have moved our November meeting to November 29th, 2022. And we can move on to Vice Chair Committee and Caucus reports, which I swear is the next thing on the agenda. And I will recognize Maggie, since she just spoke. I'll recognize Maggie Gobbold, who's one of our co-chairs of precinct operations, to give a report for the precinct operations.
You bet. Thanks, Brian. Maria normally would be here, but because it's a Thursday, she has other obligations. So the big thing right now is early voting, and we definitely need folks at the Fairfax County Government Center, at North County Government Center soon, and eventually at Mount Vernon. And then on October 27th, we have 13 additional satellites opening. And so we are planning to staff those the entire time. This is really, really important. We want to have a strong presence there. We don't know what the Republicans are going to do, so we want to have a strong presence. So if you don't know how to volunteer, get in touch with your precinct captain or with your district vice chair, or send email to precinctops@fairfaxdemocrats.org, and we'll get you set up. That's all I have. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Maggie, and thanks to everyone who has already volunteered time at early voting locations, and then everyone who signed up for that and for Election Day as we kind of head into that too. So, thanks. Next, I'd like to recognize Vice Chair North, Stephanie Sedgwick, and I think she has a pretty exciting announcement, maybe.
I do. I'd like to announce that for the first time, well, not the first time in FCD history, but the first time recently, we're going to be holding a Running for Office 101 training program on November 9th. November 19th, I'm sorry, that's a Saturday, November 19th. And it's going to be a pretty exciting program. It's going to run the gamut from filing and qualifying for office, setting up your committee, messaging, fundraising, what it's like to be a candidate, and what it looks like when you get that office. So we're really excited about that. Jack has a sign-up sheet that's going to be going out to all the district, caucus, and committee chairs. For anyone in their district or their committee who's thinking of running for office, you don't have to have decided what office you want to run for. And if you ran for office for the first time in 2021, you will also qualify. Okay, it's going to be a one-day program, 9 to 5, with a social event after. And we're very excited about this, and we hope to have good attendance. And as I said, you don't have to have decided exactly what you want to run for. And I'll leave it at that.
Or that you're running for anything, if you're just interested in you have interest, you don't have to have made that decision. We'd love to help you understand what's involved in running and in being elected, really.
And it's going to be, we have several panelists who've already agreed to join us. I think it's going to be pretty interesting and informative event for anyone who comes.
Yeah, I think we have some really great people lined up to speak to everyone. So I'm really excited about it. And if you have the inclination to run for office, I hope you will join us on the 19th. I'm looking around the room. If there are any vice chairs, caucuses that would like to, I looking at my notes, I skipped something important as well. And we need to go. I need to go back and hopefully, without objection, reclaim my time. At FCDC, I think in our budget, when we had our budget discussion last year, at the beginning of this year, I guess, we had discussion about hiring a finance director, and it was added to the budget. That was included in the budget. The personnel committee has made a decision and has hired a finance director. I believe the first finance director in FCDC history. I want everyone to have the opportunity briefly to meet our new finance director, Alexa Williams. And let me pull up Alexa here. Alexa, welcome to FCDC, and maybe say a few words to the committee. I know you're in Fairfax County, so let everyone know where you are and why you're excited about being our finance director.
Sure, great. Thanks, Brian. I am in Fairfax County currently. I'm also from Fairfax County originally. I grew up in the Mount Vernon district and have been back now for about 2 years. I went away to college, and that's where I started working on political campaigns. It's just something I kind of fell into, starting as a volunteer, and I really, really loved it. And then I ended up living in about a dozen different states, working for all different, from presidential to statewide races to smaller local races, including a few here in Virginia. But I never in that time had the opportunity to work in Northern Virginia or Fairfax County. So I am excited to be back in this community, specifically in Fairfax County, and excited to meet more people. I know several members and have been meeting people over the past few days since I started. Yes, and nice to meet all of you. And I look forward to meeting you in person as well.
All right, thanks, Alexa. I'm really excited. Alexa has a whole bunch of experience across campaigns and in different facets of campaigns. But we're really looking, or we're excited about the opportunities, and really, I mean, we have an election this year, but we're really kind of trying to gear up for our elections next year to be a powerhouse next year. So we're looking forward to it, and I really want to apologize from the bottom of my heart for not having you on my list of things that I was supposed to do in my chair report. So my profuse apology to you for that. But now I will return to if there are any other reports from our chairs. Sandra, and I know you're not going to go. Oh, are you going on camera? Oh my gosh. Okay. Sandra had, if you, I mean, I have gotten so many people giving FCDC kudos because of the event that Sandra put together. So I'm sure you're going to tell us about it right now. So I'm just passing on some of those congratulations. Everyone was really pleased.
Thank you so much for those words, Brian. Yes, hi, everybody. I'm Sandra Clausen, your National Affairs Committee Chair. And Brian's right. I want to report to you on our committee's September 22nd forum, A Republic If You Can Keep It. We had at least 300 people sign up. I'm waiting for the final numbers from Jack. And I'm really pleased to let you know, as Brian has said, that on behalf of the National Affairs Committee, I've received innumerable accolades from the attendees, similar to those that were posted in tonight's chat. I also want to thank Jack because with all he's had to do, he really rushed to try to prepare the video quickly so that I can provide the link for you at this meeting. I think it's still processing, but it should be viewable later this evening, and I'm going to put that in the chat. And I want to thank all of you who attended, and please disseminate the video widely. Before this election, I think it will be very, very useful for people to watch it. And that's all I have. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks. If you haven't seen, or if you weren't there, I definitely recommend, I can't recommend it more. So please take an opportunity to get it. The link was just put in the chat right now. Maybe we'll put it again later as well, but it does take once you upload a video, it does take a little while for us to see it. So highly recommended. Next we have Peggy Morrison, co-chair of voter registration and education.
Unmute.
I was going to say, yeah, we can't hear you.
Unmute.
Did it that time, right? Did it come back up?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Hiya. I hate doing that thing. Voter reg and education has been working extremely hard. Thanks and a great deal to Vicki Portney and Bill Millhauser, who have been, along with another cadre of 6 to 8 volunteers, showing it at George Mason University 2 times a week, Nova Community College 2 times a week, getting kids to hopefully register to vote, but also more importantly, reminding them that we have an election and that how important it really is that we get up and we get people out to vote. We also have voter information cards that some people at one point called the blue cards. We're now calling them VIC cards, which have all of the early voting sites that have all of the hours. And those are being distributed. We also have a farmers market sign. If you don't have them at your farmers markets, if you need them for a fair, please either I'll put Rich and my email in the comments, but please, we want to use these things because they're great information. And I think that's it for us.
All right, thanks, Peggy. Next we have Maritza Zermenio. Maritza is the chair of the Latino caucus for FCDC. And I also want to take a moment to recognize their meeting was supposed to be right now on Thursday, so they moved it for us to accommodate us moving the FCDC meeting. So I want to thank her for that. But now I will give the floor to Maritza.
Thank you, Brian. Hi, everybody. Good evening. I hope you can hear me. I just want to say that the Fairfax County Democratic Latino Caucus will have their monthly meeting tomorrow. That's going to be Friday, September 30 from 7 to 8 p.m. And thank you for the acknowledgement, Brian, and the caucus. So we're going to have our very special guest is going to be Paul Berry. He was appointed to the Virginia Latino Advisory Board by the Governor Northam, where he served as a chairman until the unfortunate election of our current governor. The Latino caucus is still on developing, and we really invite everybody to join us because we want everybody to give us their input and support the Latino caucus so we can work on this together. So I would really appreciate if you can attend and give us your input and be part of our caucus. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Maritza. And next we have Sabrina Matten, the co-chair of the API caucus for FCDC.
Thank you, Brian. Hi, everyone. So I just wanted to come on here and let everybody know that the Asian and Pacific Islander Caucus kicked off our Asian market voter mobilization effort this past Saturday. So basically what we're doing is that we're tabling outside of various Asian grocery stores throughout the county to let folks know about early voting and to do general voter outreach. So really encouraging folks, to go out, vote early, get involved. We will be holding these events throughout the month of October up until the election, and I will paste all the information in the chat for what we're doing and where we'll be at with mobilize links. It really does make a difference. We have information translated into various languages. So even if you don't know another language, we were out at H Mart and I don't know Korean, and we had a lot of older Korean folks there. And at first, maybe they might be hesitant, but when you hand them that lit with information translated into their respective language, they really light up, and it really doesn't make a difference, and they do interact with what you've given them. So I really do encourage anyone to come out if you don't know a second language. If you do, even better. And I'll paste all the info in the chat. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Sabrina. And next we have Deborah Woolen, who's our recording secretary. Deborah.
Everyone. Yes, I am the recording secretary, but right now I'm going to report on behalf of State and Local Affairs on Thursday, October 6th. I've been at 7:30. Please join us along with Jamie Lockhart, the Executive Director of Planned Parenthood, Lisa Sales, the President of the Virginia chapter of NOW, and Virginia Senator Jennifer Boysko for a discussion on Virginia's path to protecting abortion rights in the wake of the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision. We'll learn about how we can take action as Democrats, and we'll also open it up to questions and discussion from the audience. The event will be moderated by a very special woman. Her name is Deborah Woolen. So if you can make it, that'd be great. Again, that is Thursday, October 6th at 7:30 p.m. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Deborah. That's great. I think last call for reports before we head to new business. Okay. Well, we are now in new business. Is there any other new business? Okay, not seeing any new business. We are in announcements. If you'd like to make an announcement, please raise your hand so we can recognize you. And first to raise a hand is Ben Zool. So go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Jack to put the link to the state and local event into the chat.
Okay, we can
do that.
I think we can make that happen.
Thank you.
Maggie Gobbold, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. And I don't. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, first I second that. I'd really like to watch that. I couldn't see it. I couldn't attend. I am here to invite everybody to a special Zoom that I've set up for Matt Castelli. I know he's not a Virginia person. He lives in New York. He is a friend and associate of my next door neighbor, and he's running against Elisa Stefanik. I don't know, some people who follow the national news know that she used to be a sane Republican, and she's gone insane, basically. Anyway, so Matt is running against her, and I'm doing a fundraising Zoom for Matt a week from tonight, Thursday, October 6th at 7 p.m. And it's a low-dollar fundraiser. You get a chance to meet him, and if you like what you hear, you can send a little more money his way. It's a moderate district. It's not as red as you would think. And so based on what I've seen, I think Matt has a chance. He just got endorsed by Gillibrand. So if you're interested, I can put the link in the chat. In fact, I'll do that. I'll put the link in the chat, but it's also on the FCDC calendar. So I'd love to see you all. We'll have a chance to get to know him and ask questions. Just basically the reason I'm doing this is he used to be part of the national intelligence community, which I was. And I think, he'll do a good job. Thank you.
Thanks, Maggie. Next, I'll recognize Celeste Land.
Hi, everybody. I'm Celeste Lamb from Providence District, but my announcement is about somebody who does not live in Fairfax County. His name is Kellen Squire. He's an emergency room nurse in Charlottesville, and he is running for the House of Delegates in, I believe it's HD 55, which is currently Rob Bell's district. That was a deep red district. It's not red anymore. It's believed to be flippable. Kellen is running a strong campaign, and there's a lot of consensus around the state that this is one of those seats that could flip and give us back control of the House. Kellen is a progressive Democrat, and he is very interested in coming up here and doing a fundraiser here in Northern Virginia to talk to potential supporters about what he's doing, what he's seen in the emergency room, how he's seen the healthcare crisis, both with COVID and with reproductive rights and abortion upfront and personal, and how this makes him such a strong candidate. So the reason I'm telling you all this is that he is looking for a fundraising opportunity, and to make that happen, we need a host and we need a place. And so if you think that you might have some ideas along these lines, I'm going to put my contact information here, and please reach out to me and maybe we can make this happen. Obviously, it's not going to happen before election. It's going to happen after the election. That's fine. He understands that. But anything that you can do to make this happen, I'm very excited about this candidate, and I hope you will be too. So I'm just going to click here. And you can, if you want to learn more about Kellen, there's his website. And if you want to learn more about me, you know what?
All right. Thanks, Celeste. Next, I will recognize the very honorable Kate Hanley.
Thank you. I just want to remind us all that same-day registration takes place this year, but not until the 18th. Of October, when the books close on the 17th. That's an old term for when we actually register people that were registered down at a book. And so registration closes the usual way on the 17th. And after the 18th, you can register same-day registration at the 3 satellites that are currently open, and all 13 of them after all of them open. I encourage you to do that because when you same-day register, you are also registering, you're putting in your registration, and then you're going to vote provisionally. And one of the good things about doing it at the satellites at the 18th and after is that we can process the registration, and then it's easier to process the provisional, so that we will get it done before a week after the election. So we're encouraging same-day registration at the satellites after starting the 18th of October. And particularly for those who are working on the George Mason registration, we think we have a lot of people at George Mason to register, and we're going to have extra people at that precinct on election day, but they too can go to the Government Center satellite. So I think I just wanted to be sure we reminded everybody that this is another change this year. And answer any questions if anybody has them.
That's great. So just to add myself. So your I think we talked about this before, because I'm like, if the people that need to know about same-day voter registration to do it early are probably not the people that are in this meeting, right? But
Correct.
If we do talk to anyone, if we're out there talking to voters or whatever, and they're not sure if they're registered to vote, we should be encouraging them to vote early, because they can go, and if they're not registered at the right place, they can update their voter registration same day and vote. And the Office of Elections can, provisionally, and the Office of Elections can like look at it beforehand or whatever, right? They don't have to wait till after the election to try to solve everything that happened on election day. So I think that's, to be clear, that's what you're encouraging, right?
That is absolutely what I'm encouraging. We're probably the only jurisdiction in the state that is not hysterical about same-day registration, because we have always had same-day registration for military that's been reassigned, and we have more of those than anybody else apparently. But this is a new one, and since they will be provisional voters, it's good for us to be able to process the registration before we process the provisionals. And I encourage anyone who has not volunteered, this is the final, I want to put in a recruiting message, who has not volunteered with the committee, and not with our office, but with the committee, to be an observer at the polls on election day, or at the satellites. We have one from each party at the satellites to do so. As you know, the chiefs will be all Republican this year. The assistant chiefs will be all Democrats.
I don't know why I look so blue, but yes, I think they're. I'm looking for the link so I could share it myself. But we do have a link for folks to sign up if they are interested in being an inside poll observer, or I guess really an authorized representative of the party inside the polls or for early voting or whatever. We have training. Yeah, for election day, we have training for you, and we can help you be successful at that. We had two hands pop up while you're talking. I don't know if there are questions for you or not, but I'll go ahead and go to Jean Robinson. Jean?
Yes, thank you. My question is about students who actually live in the residence halls on campus at GMU. Do you have any advice if we run into one of them?
If you run into one of them.
Well, they want to register, and there was some confusion in the past about their address.
Well, yes, hopefully they will put down, what we know is useful is for them to put down their dorm name and room. Because the post office box is virtual, and that gets us into all kinds of things. And that would be good to do. So that's my current advice.
So the advice is, if you catch them right now, have them register to vote using their dorm address.
Right.
And then if for some reason they don't do it by October 17th, then tell them to go vote early.
And the closest satellite to them, I believe, would be the government center. I don't think there's one closer. The Providence one is no, it would be the government center. Maybe Springfield Government Center as well. I'm sorry, I want to tell you that I don't ordinarily wear Hawaiian shirts, but I have a broken shoulder, and it's the only yes. And I'm going to be in surgery on next Thursday, and the doctor assured me that I would be back on my feet very quickly. He had a daughter that worked in our PAGE program last year, and they're all for it. So he's going to get me in and out, but the tire is a bit weird.
Well, we hope you get well, and hope the surgery goes well. I know you have a whole bunch of people rooting for you. There are more. I think there are even more questions now. So Diane Burns, go ahead.
Hi, Kate, I had a question. So if somebody goes to vote and then they're told, well, you're not on the you're not registered, are the people that are working in the polls, are they educated enough to say, oh, there's same day registration beginning on October the 18th, or are they just going to say, no, go away, you're not registered?
They better not say, no, go away, you're not registered, because at that point you're going to call me.
But that's why it's also why we need poll that's why we need observers out there.
Same day registration after the polls close. Yep. is you fill out a registration form, and then you vote provisionally, and then the office gets the registration forms back and is able to process that, so that when we start processing the provisionals, you're already registered.
I was just wondering if the poll workers all know.
We are training everybody on it. I see Dennis on here, and I know he's training everybody on it also.
Aaron Yohai, chair of
Braddock
District. Yeah, go ahead, Braddock.
Thank you. Kate, I think this is a follow-up to what Jean Robinson asked about George Mason students' registration. I think I heard you say dorm name, but isn't it really their number, the address, as it would be like a street address?
Well, if they don't know the street address of their dorm name, because remember, George Mason has everything on Ravana, whatever way,
right,
or one other street. If they know their dorm name and room number, that's okay. If they know their street, we need a dorm name somewhere in there.
Oh, that is new to me. Okay, thank you. So, for example, if someone were to say Hampton Roads, room number something, that would be acceptable?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much.
I mean, it's where they are residing
Because
in the precinct.
George Mason only has like 2 streets that they recognize for mailboxes. So
Well, I was more referring to, because I was under the impression, so for example, Hampton Road's street address is 4401 Patriot Circle. That was my impression of what was the correct thing to put down.
they can put that down, but we need a
Okay.
dorm name.
Thank you. That's helpful.
It looks like we lost Dan's hand, so maybe he doesn't have a question or comment anymore. Peggy, go ahead.
Peggy, I think
Yeah,
you're muted.
yeah, you're still muted if you have a question, Peggy. I guess I'll go to Jerry then. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure we understand there are 90,000 students at Northern Virginia Community College. Most of them will be local, and many of them will be as potently capable of shifting us in the right direction if we can get them registered. So I'd want to make sure we're doing our utmost to reach out to those younger people. 15% of those 90,000 are homeless, giving us a sense about how hard we need to work for affordable homes for them. But boy, could they be potent futures for our county's democratic zeal. So I love registering more at George Mason, but I don't want us to ignore the power of Northern Virginia Community College. And thanks, Kate.
I don't think, just to be clear, I don't think either of us are suggesting that there's less power in Nova voters than Mason voters. The issue is particularly with the Mason University precinct, because those are students that reside there and want to vote there, whereas the Nova, I mean, people don't live at Nova. I don't think. So right, so that's just the difference, because we're trying to avoid having 3,000 provisional votes from a single precinct on election day. I think is probably what we're trying to avoid. Peggy, are you there, or do you still have a question? I guess not. Anything else for?
Greg Brandon came and went, and so did Dan Press.
Yeah.
They already know.
Well, of course, they were going to ask leading questions anyway. They already know the answers too.
Aaron asked the same question I was going to ask.
Okay, go ahead, Greg. Final comment for
Well,
Kate.
I just want to make it a point that, it's up to the student to figure out where he or she wants to register to vote. And there might be some people from Hampton Roads and Southside who, we need their vote down there.
Yep.
So
also true.
Of course, they may not be able to do same day registration, but with the drives that Peggy and the voter registration committee are doing, we'll get to them, I think, maybe in time.
Let me tell you what happens a lot with students, and I've been watching it now for all these years I've been doing this. It's very frustrating because you can register appropriately at DMV, and students tend to go to school and register at wherever they go to university, and that's fine. And then they come home for a weekend and they lose their driver's license, and they go into DMV and they re-register, and then they check because they're afraid that when it says, do you want to register to vote, that, oh my gosh, I've got to register to vote. And so they check yes, and then we get a process to put them back someplace else. And that happens just all the time. And so on election day, they're registered here and they're wherever they go to school in the rest of the state and vice versa. So it's important that once they register, they know that they are registered, and they don't need to re-register if they go into DMV and do anything. And you'd be amazed at how many of us do that, because we're scared when we see that box that if we don't fill it out, somehow we're being unregistered. And it's just amazing how much that happens. But so that needs to be explained as well. You're registered, if you're registering here in University Precinct, you're now registered in University Precinct, and you don't need to re-register.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Kate. And we all have best wishes for you for successful surgery and fast recovery.
And
We
I'm
hope you heal well.
left-handed, so you may never be able to read anything I write again.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We had a surprise election rules kind of information session at the end of the meeting, but I thought it was great. It was very good. All right. Well, that's it for the meeting. We're trying to break record time here, although we went a couple minutes over where I was hoping we would be. But we are adjourned with no further business for the committee. Our next meeting will be October 29th as we changed. Oh, Peggy has something
I'm sorry. I apologize. I had to get off my phone so I could unmute myself. So people understand there are Mason Dems, which is the organization that is working George Mason Dems, which are dealing with the folks that are on campus. We are coordinating and helping them with their registration. We both have addresses for every single building, every dorm on the campus, so the kids know what place to how to register. We're then working on getting commuters. We have QR codes for Loudoun, for Prince William, for everything. I know we're Fairfax Dems, but kids are coming from all over the place to go to the college. So we have QR codes and we have scan buttons that say scan us. And they can definitely go straight to registering online. So those are the two things I kind of wanted to jump in. I couldn't get myself unmuted, so I apologize.
Well, thank you for that. And once again, thanks for all the great things that VRNE is doing with the Mason Dems to help with this.
We're trying. They were not going to be doing a lot of pre-registration, and we were saying, considering who's in charge of our governors, please don't do that. So we've actually already been to one of their meetings. So to get them to register folks ahead.
Well, thanks again for that, and thanks again to everyone for attending. I hope you have a good rest of the week, and hopefully we see some of you in person on November 29th. I don't know exactly where that will be, but we're securing a location now, and we'll share that with everyone soon. And as always, go to the FCDC calendar. It's the best source of information about what's going on in the county and beyond. If you're looking for opportunities to get involved, go take a look at the calendar. And once again, thanks for being a Fairfax Democrat. Good night.
Bye.